I really got to see God move through the social aspect of this trip, especially with the family. On the first day, I distinctly remember they were very, very shy. There wasn't a lot of chatter, and it was just in general very awkward. We were introducing ourselves, and the parents, they said stuff. That was cool. But we got to talking to Alejandro, and the first thing his mom says, "Oh, he's shy."
Alejandro, the little kid, who's my favorite. When we got the house and he unlocked it, it was crazy. I loved seeing his emotion when he saw the house, because he's a young kid, obviously. He's only 10 years old, which it's crazy how he can even comprehend what had just happened to him. And it was just so encouraging in my faith.
A couple of the ways I saw God working was through the friends of the family we were building the house for. They would show up most of the days, and they would help with any tasks they could, whether it be cleaning or painting, really anything. And I thought that was really great to see just how much kindness and care went into that, and just much love they have for each other, that they're just happy and willing to do that.
Oftentimes, a handful of us wouldn't have a job, and so we got the opportunity to chat with the family using our translator Ruth, and we got to just kind of learn about their lives, learn about where they work, where they used to live, why they partner with Hugo, things like that. At one point, they asked us, "Does it snow year-end in Canada?" Which is just really funny.
I saw God working through our missions trip through Pastor Felipe, how he was at the building site every single day, worked so hard, and then would go serve at his church, and not because he got paid to do it, but because that's what he felt God calling him to do. And then after that, he would go work at the night market to make a living, and then would only get 2 hours of sleep and then come right back to the building site. And never once would he complain. He would always say how grateful he is that God is calling him here.
And I saw God working through the pastor of the local church, who was just so willing to serve and help. And I had messed up a part on the roof, and he just fixed it. And he's like, "Give it to me," and then he fixed it and made it work. So that was really cool. So yeah, thank you for sending me on the trip, and I hope to do it again.
Pastor Felipe, there'd be some days that he'd come in. He said that he walks throughout the midnight at a supermarket or something like that. And he'd only sleep 2 hours, but he'd never be tired. And some days I come in at church and I'm very sleepy or tired. Some days I don't really want to be there, and I'm not fully attentive to what the speaker is trying to help us learn. So the greatest thing I've learned on this trip is me doing my best to be more passionate about Christ. And ever since we finished the mission trip, that has really been a way that now I don't even feel tired. I could go on and on, talking about what's important to me.
On Wednesday night, we had gone down to the church in Ensenada, and we got to meet all the family and the pastor and all the people down there. We don't know their situations or what background they're in, but they were always just so happy to greet us and make us feel at home, even if they might not be living in the best circumstances. And after the service, the kids were out selling mangoes with tahini on them and some other spices. So it's like a mixture of sweet and salt or spicy. And just seeing them light up at us going and buying them so they could have a projector in the church was amazing to see.
So on this trip, I just truly felt God's presence. But when we gave the house to the family, it was just a truly different experience that I hadn't really felt before. And I was just so grateful to make their dreams come true and see how happy they were just to get this house and how it changes their life. Later through the day though, I had time to reflect on my life back at home. And I was getting these revelations of how Jesus has been answering my prayers back at home. And it was just really cool to see and feel God's presence on this trip, and then see how He's actually been working through my life at home even when I don't really feel like it.
During my trip, God called me closer to Him. I experienced a sting by a stingray on the beach, and through that, God has strengthened my faith. It was a life-changing event.
During this trip, I was able to witness God working in a different country. I met people who live with no clean water, have little to no money, and who struggle to provide homes for their family and children. But even through it all, I watched how they put their faith in God and trusted that no matter the circumstance, He would provide for them. I got to see God through their faith, and it challenged me to lean on the Lord, even in those situations where nothing seems to be going right.
One of the moments that was most impactful for me on this trip was getting to fulfill the family's request that our team leave a personal touch on the side of the house. So not only did we all get to dip our hand in paint and leave our handprint on the side of the wall, but I also got to be the one to paint the name of our church on the side of the wall too. So yeah, that was such a cool way to stay connected to the family, even now that we are no longer in Mexico. That memory serves as a reminder of God's love going beyond borders and beyond languages.
One really cool thing that I learned on the trip was how international God's love is. I guess I never really experienced God's love outside of Canada, and I've never really been around Christians outside of Canada. And it was really amazing just to connect with the family and the pastor. Even though we weren't able to directly speak to them because of the language barrier, I feel like we all really connected just because of our relationship with God, and just the faith that we have in the Lord and their faith. And I feel it was just so amazing to see how God's love can connect people when they can't even speak the same language.
I've been praying for a while now to just kind of expand my circle in the church and make some new relationships, whether that be new friendships or new mentors. And when this mission trip was announced, I felt called to it. I wasn't really sure why. I now realize that was God answering my prayers. I had a lot of incredible conversations on this trip, and I've met so many people that I've never spoken to before, which was really incredible. And I feel so happy and blessed that I was able to return home with 23 new, strong relationships.
Our mission at Bow Valley is to help people find and follow Jesus, and we have accomplished that on this trip with incredible success. We were able to shine Jesus' love to the people of Ensenada as we built this house for a family in desperate need of one, and we were able to encourage the local pastor in his work of spreading the gospel and sharing the good news of Jesus. We all experienced growth in our faith that will last beyond the trip. For our youth and young adults in these formative years of their life and of their faith journey, they now have this experience to look back on, to recognize the faithfulness of God. More than that, as we have come back to Canada, we now have close friendships with each and every person that went on the trip. We experienced the love and the grace of God through each other as we experienced what it means to belong to a group of people focused on God's mission. A group of people that transcends language and transcends country, all focused on doing kingdom work. And finally, we experienced the love of each of you as you invested in us, as you empowered us to do God's work around the world. Throughout the preparation of this trip, there was a clear thread that we could not do this alone, but rather that we were partnering with you. And so on behalf of the team, I want to say a big thank you to all of you who supported us financially, to those who supported us with your prayers, and to everyone who was involved behind the scenes. It is with this in mind that I now say Mexico Mission Trip 2025 has been an incredible success, and I cannot wait for the next one.